Historically, the arrival of the U.S. military near a hostile border ended the conversation. Adversaries faced a stark choice: surrender or become completely silent. This display of kinetic power was usually enough to stop a crisis before a single shot is fired. This was the dynamic in Venezuela. The presence of American military assets put immense pressure on Nicolas Maduro and his generals, helping to effectively freeze his government's ability to act on the global stage. When the Trump administration applied this same playbook of threats and military posturing to Iran, the expectation in Washington was consistent. They were expecting a quick capitulation from Tehran. Instead of retreating, the Iranian military chose to do something few nations have ever dared. They publicly mocked the sitting president of the United States, utilizing his own reality TV history to tell him, "You're fired." This communication didn't happen through secure diplomatic cables. The Iranian regime took the conflict to Twitter, using demeaning memes to talk down to American leadership in front of a global audience. This kind of public mockery signals a much deeper shift in strategy. A foreign military treating a superpower like a joke suggests the traditional fear of American intervention is no longer functioning. The tension peaked when President Trump made an unusual claim, suggesting that the United States and Iran would move towards jointly controlling the Strait of Hormuz. This image represents Iran's response. It shows two steering wheels, one a real leather-bound driver's wheel for Tehran, and the other a cheap plastic toy for the United States. The message was clear. Tehran believes Washington is only pretending to be in control. The Strait of Hormuz is a 21-mile physical choke point directly off Iran's coast, acting as their ultimate geographic lever. Any American attack would trigger a total blockage of the strait, sending global crude oil prices toward $200 a barrel. The steering wheel meme is a direct calculation of this geography. Because Iran can physically obstruct a fifth of the world's oil supply, they have successfully neutralized the threat of American military posturing. To explain this stalemate to their own citizens, Iran released a tactical cartoon. It shows a simulated map where U.S. and Israeli forces begin moving toward Iranian military installations with the intent to strike. Iranian drones launching from a mobile truck prove the cartoon reflects real-world hardware. These assets are pre-positioned to defend the strait. To avoid a direct confrontation that could lead to massive war, the U.S. opted to pull high-value aircraft carriers back from the confrontation zone. This container ship represents the continued flow of commerce. While Europe hesitated to send naval support, Chinese trade has continued through the strait without interruption. U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan reflect the fatigue of long-term operations. The administration knows the American public has no appetite for another ground war. These conflicting signals, where Washington claims peace talks are happening while Tehran openly denies them, reveal a superpower in a state of paralysis. Iran's mocking cartoons are proving to be accurate descriptions of a military that cannot find a safe way to engage. The Middle East is not the only region watching this retreat. While American voters are focused on domestic headlines, rival nations are studying exactly how the U.S. responds when its bluff is called. By surviving this standoff without facing military consequences, Iran has demonstrated that the mere threat of American force is no longer a guaranteed deterrent. The geopolitical calculus in Asia is already shifting. In this image, Kim Jong-un is seen addressing his leadership with a new level of confidence, sensing that American attention is bogged down elsewhere. North Korea has responded to this perceived weakness by declaring its nuclear status irreversible. Kim is now issuing aggressive threats toward South Korea, seemingly convinced that the U.S. is too hesitant to intervene in a new conflict. This shift extends to major powers like China and Russia. Seeing that the U.S. can no longer enforce its will through intimidation alone, these nations are becoming increasingly comfortable supplying advanced weapons and economic support to countries like Iran. Iran's use of public mockery has moved the conflict beyond a regional dispute. By demonstrating that American military threats can be successfully ignored without immediate retaliation, they have provided a new template for how adversaries will handle Western pressure in the future.